Hi everybody, you've landed at Aquascaping on the Fly Living Art Creations. I'm Anthony, your host and your content creator. Here on my channel, I love to blend my passion for spirit and Mother Nature into every one of my builds, whether it's a terrarium or an aquascape. And for me, my inspiration starts the moment I start out on a nature walk, which I do that for every one of my builds, and it just builds on its momentum from that point forward. With that theme in mind, today we're going to be talking about the next step. I've got a whole bunch of stuff on the floor that we did from the last 2 scavenger hunts. Now, one of the scavenger hunts, I just did like a 1-minute teaser video because I found like some rocks and floating plants. And then I did another one where it was just me out in a trail system, and I showed you guys on video all the pieces that I potentially collected. So today I've got everything laid out so you can take a look at it and you can see real world. This is what I find and what I'm looking to use, as well as we're going to take a peek at the design feature for the layout of the Rainbow Series tanks, how they're going to be shelved, how we're going to do them color-wise, and also looking at the hardscape and maybe some of the plants that I'm contemplating on how I'm going to bring this rainbow-colored theme together. But before we get started, I had 2 questions pop up, and I thought, okay, this will be the perfect time to answer what you guys are interested in. And by the way, let me say, I love talking about this. My comments, my community. My community rocks. Your positivity is amazing to me, and I'm so thankful for that. So whether you're brand new or you've been here from day one and you saw my crappy early videos that are kind of embarrassing for me now because I've evolved so much into my editing process, you're welcome, and I welcome everyone's feedback. We're holding right now just at 230, I think it's 239 subscribers. So I'm wanting to hit that 250, and then from there, I'll have another goal in mind. But 250 is kind of a cool goal because my channel is such a brand new channel, and it's hard to know if the algorithm's getting me out there. I did receive confirmation on a video 2 videos ago where someone actually wrote in, "I'm so happy the algorithm sent me your video. It's something they needed to see." So to me, that was like a gold bar that was just delivered to my inbox, because that's what I've been waiting on. I've been waiting for the algorithm to kind of catch up with my audience and not be so random. But so if you like the content, the way the algorithm works, they really like the trifecta: a like, a comment, and subscribe. Do whatever makes you feel comfortable. Just know I'll appreciate it either way. It doesn't matter. And one of the comments, the first comment I thought was really interesting, is they were talking about the little clips I did on the foraging and what were my tips for on how to be successful when you're out foraging. Okay, so my first thing I'm going to say is, when you do your research on your trail system, look at the photos. Paved trails aren't always the best option because maybe that park is more manicured. I like nature trails, the ones that have a dirt path that's covered in a canopy of trees if you have it, because there you're going to find a lot more of your real things that have fallen in nature that now you might be able to use depending on their state of decay. So I like to find as hard of a wood as possible so that I know I can put that into an aquarium setup. If I find something that's softer, that's more decayed, I know I can put that in a terrarium. So there's where my 2 kind of balance out. So I go into a dirt path, but then I venture off of the dirt path. The part that's not kept, like a lot of times, some trails, they will sort of maybe mow the edging of the trail, just so it's easier for people and bikes to go through there. I like the ones where they don't do like that. I like the ones where when a tree falls, And if they come through and cut it up, they cut it up because I might find something there that I really want. I might find something in a cut up tree that the forestry or the park services has just left there. That's my gold mine for me. So that's the kind of stuff I look for. And I don't just look for the wood. I'm looking for dried mushrooms, wasp nests. I'm not talking about a live wasp nest. I'm talking about after a storm, a lot of wasp nests will fall to the ground. You can dry those and put them on something, and it makes an incredible addition to a terrarium. So for me, it's all about a dirt path, walking it, and then veering off on both sides. So what I like to do is a lot of paths curve or whatever. So I'll pick one side and start with one side of the trail. Do the whole curve, turn around, and then I'll do the reverse so that I'm not missing any section there. And I like to break my trails up in quadrants. So I'll search the closest thing to the entrance first, and then I usually spend about an hour out. If I want to go to 2 locations, then I'll go to another location and I'll abandon the first site. But that doesn't mean for good. It means I'm going to come back at a later time, breeze by what I've already looked at, and then go into a new section. So I like to keep it, versatile and fresh and fun. And I always, this is how it works with me in my spirituality. I'm always usually in prayer meditation, openly talking to my angels, to Mother Nature, to the divine, and I'm looking for inspiration, and I listen to my intuition. So something that I did on this particular trail, brand new trail that I was at on this last time, I was out and I was faced with 3 options, left, right, or middle. And I'm standing there, and so my intuition said, hey, let's go left. So I follow my intuition. And it's a great thing that I did because I found a great piece of driftwood, and I found 2 types of floating plants that I had not seen before in any of my walks around water. So that intuition led me to, and there's another thing. It led me to the pebbles that you're going to see today that I cleaned. So I had specifically asked for in meditation on that path, that how was I going to pull because I talk to my guides just like I'm talking to you guys right now. I just have a conversation with them. How am I going to pull the rainbow series together? Okay, yes, the tanks are all going to be the same size. They're going to have the symmetrical look that I want. They're each going to have their color, okay? But what's going to tie them together, the hardscape? Because we're talking 5 little tanks, 5.5 gallon tanks. I got to have something that's going to pull them all together for a cohesive look. And I found these pebbles that are actually quartz, that are polished, that someone threw out. And I dug them up out of the soil, and I was stoked that I found them because I think I found enough that I can put a aqua soil down with sand on top of it and then drizzle my pebbles into each one of the builds. So they'll have the consistency of having the same substrate set up. Did I say that right? So basically for me, I am talking the whole time. Now, even before I was doing aquascaping, I was always talking. I was always talking to God and Mother Nature. When I see a beautiful sunset or a sunrise or something in the clouds, I always give thanks for it. So I have always been like that. I thought everyone was like that. I didn't know people weren't like that. So for me, this is just very, very natural. And I'm hoping by giving you this information, it might open you up. If you're not spiritual, it doesn't matter. You can always tap into the energy, and you can always ask for guidance. All you have to do is ask and start your conversation and see where it leads. You might be really, really surprised with the difference, especially in your outlook. And that kind of brings me to the second thing. I've started having this word pop into my head and talking about this hobby, that it's a lifestyle hobby. It's a lifestyle hobby because once you're in it, you tend to stay into it, and as you develop and grow, the hobby grows with you. I mean, you grow with it, with what you're comfortable with. And there's a benefit that I want to start talking about. I've been having things online pop up in front of me about the beneficial health effects of an aquarium on children with any type of developmental disabilities. And then also adults with certain disabilities having an aquarium tank to focus on or to work on or just to enjoy has all these health benefits to a large population out there. And I don't think anyone is talking about this. And I want to kind of like take this one step further. I can tell you personally in my life, I know aquascaping was placed in front of me for a reason. It was to help me with my own internal therapy, getting over a breakup, an 8-year relationship. And aquascaping for me, and I think for a lot of people, it's a solitary, I mean, you may have a partner that like supports you with it, but a lot of people that I'm engaging with, it's one person that does it, and that's their passion. You might have someone else that helps you. I mean, if you're a business, it's different because you may have more people that help you. But to me, it's therapy. It is just like therapy. Going into even doing the research about the kind of tank you want, you're so focused on little tiny details, just like when you're out in a trail system and you're looking for something, it forces you to slow down, put your phone away. You're looking at the tiniest of details on the ground. You are focused on the ground and where you're walking, and your thoughts are yours and yours alone. You're not distracted with your mobile device. And so I encourage you to do what I do, is I leave my phone in my car. I am totally plugged in to nature when I am out doing my nature walks. I think that's why I have such success, is because I'm honoring my spirit guides and also my Mother Nature by trying to tap into the energy, read the energy, and go to the places that I felt like I needed to be led to so I can find the gems that I can find. And another aspect to the aquascaping really is, no matter what you're going through, whether it's a breakup, whether it's a job loss, whether it's a housing issue, whether it's an addiction, I would encourage you to try, if you haven't tried aquascaping or even terrariums, you give it a try as something to help you deal with whatever your own internal issues are. And I think you'll be surprised at the amount of help and guidance comes out of that. And at the same time, I encourage you to tap into any spiritual side, even if you're not spiritual at all. Your guides are always there for you. We have literally archangels. We have what I call my angel posse. We have generational angels. We have people that are angels that are surrounding us, and they want us to achieve our highest and best potential. But you have to work with them with that. It's not just going to fall in your lap. You have to do the work. So if there's a karmic lesson, you have to learn, you have to work through the process and trust the process and work through it. And then you will be better on the other side. So I can tell you that honestly, when I found aquascaping, I found it right when I really needed something. I needed something to focus on, where I could focus on the effects of leaving an 8-year relationship where I walked away, and I walked away from someone I loved, but someone that I couldn't help. I had spent years trying to help, but someone who wasn't open for that. And that evolution has got me to the point now where I feel compelled to tell my story to you, to hope that it will help you as well. Throughout my entire life, people have always said, it always makes people feel good when they talk to me, because I'm always very impartial and I just give like my honest opinion. And I'm hoping this comes across in the video, because I have been guided that I need to open up more about spirituality. And I think also about dealing with whatever type of trauma may be going on in your life, that you need to give up and give that to a divine power and let them take over that, or whoever you feel compelled on your hierarchy, whether it's an archangel. And I didn't know any of my archangels. I started Googling them. I started Googling each one of them and what categories they worked on. So like for us in the hobby here, Ariel handles aquatic and plants. And that's one person that I'm constantly talking to on a daily basis about my tanks. That, you know, when I'm in prayer meditation, I'm talking about each one of my specific tanks and asking for guidance on how to keep that tank as healthy as possible. So it may sound far-fetched, and I realize that, for those channels out there where they're polished and professional. That's not me. I'm here to give you my honest opinion and to help you in any way I can. That's why I started this channel. I started a channel that focused on DIY, nature foraging, building what we can so we don't have to spend $800 to $2,000 on a tank. And you guys know I am so honest about what my tanks cost. You see the breakdown, you see what I put into it, and I don't skimp. The artist in me does not skimp. I get exactly what I want. I just make sure I do it the right way. I really look for stuff. So I hope that helps, and I hope this is not an overwhelming introduction into this new topic for some of you. You may not find it helpful. That's okay. If I lose subscribers because I'm getting too emotional or too spiritual, or talking about how the lifestyle hobby can help you overcome trauma in your life, that's okay, because that's part of my mission. My mission is to spread the word, and that's what I'm trying to do, one video at a time. So my next question, I have to take my glasses off for this one because I wrote too much down. Oh, the plants that are in my tanks now. Okay, so I do have houseplants in all the tanks. Now remember, this is the Trinity series. So Trinity was my first 3 tanks, 10-gallon tanks, with one theme, but 3 scenes, okay? So if you guys can get that. So to kind of give you, all right, let's go a little there. All right, here we go. Now, so this is Garden of Eden. Now I want to point out that we're looking at specifically where these connect. So it's not just, yes, the substrate is the same in all of them, but we have a group of rocks here. Then we have, this is Adam, this is Eve, 2 separate pieces that I put together. So Adam is going like this, he's arching. If you follow his arch, he comes up and he would go over. Adam has the same plant here. It arches up, comes over. Here is Turtle in motion. Turtle has the same plant here, and look what Turtle is doing. Turtle is pointing completely down. So we're following the same arc across all 3 bills. Now here's where it's most obvious. Here's Turtle at the bottom, here's Bird on a wire, same level, same plant here as the same plant here, continuity, here goes here, and goes up and out and to the top. So the plants, let's showcase those because we do have something interesting going on here. This right here, this is a pothos that I picked up on a trip to Tampa. I was on a layover. Those of you who don't know, I'm a flight attendant. And this was growing out in the wild. And I took just like a little tiny section, like 2 leaves, and I brought it back, and it actually survived the trip. Then we have right here, this is, I want to let you see it up close. You guys see that? This is called a speckled Hoya. And I love it because it's more like a vine. But the one thing I want to show you it has in common is the Hoya, look at the roots. It's already got its aqua roots, just like the pothos. And it has the best aqua roots. I mean, come on. That looks amazing. Look at those. They're just gorgeous. Now, on the back side, there is, I'm not sure if you can see it. I don't want to pull it out because I've got them wedged. Okay, you can see the leaf a little bit. You guys see that prayer plant? There's a prayer plant right back here. Now, they're not doing well. They have No, well, okay, a couple, but not really. The roots are not white. Aquatic roots will be white. It's not doing well at all. It may not survive. Same thing in here. I've got one on this side of the tank. You can tell the roots are still chopped off. They have no growth. However, come over to this side and you have the rattlesnake plant, which look, it's getting its water roots. So it's going to do well. So we have 3 here. So we got rattlesnake, speckled Hoya, and of course the potholes, which everyone knows grows really, really well. Then in this one, we have 2. And you're going to barely see it. I have a Rex begonia right there, not doing well at all. And I have a small-leafed monstera. Now that's the monstera root right here. That's the monstera right there. The begonia, it's not doing well at all. So I'm not sure if the begonia is going to, if the begonia is going to do any well at all. Oh, so we're still talking about the consistency. Okay, so how this one had rocks, this one have rocks, and this one has rocks on the other end. Now, if you were to put these in a circle, which they won't go in a circle because there's 3, these rocks here would come into contact with these rocks here. I was going to put more rocks in the middle, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it looked. And another downside is I'm not going to do another tank that has just aqua soil alone, because I had put dwarf hairgrass that's all just like floundered. It's not grown at all. And it rolls around too much, so even the stem plants don't like it. I'm contemplating putting a capping layer of gravel on this. I just haven't found the gravel that I really, really want. Now for the plants in the tree of life, you can see it right there. So here you have the tree of life, and let's get some light on it. This is croton. So the one in the middle is the more established one. This is a 2-leaf on the right. It's getting a new water root. And this one on the left, it hasn't gotten any. You see the roots right there? That's the one in the middle. And the 2-leaf, you can't see it. It's barely in the water. But this is my Tree of Life build, which is supposed to be my take on an irigumi style, where you make the imperfect perfect. And I took a shrub that I found in a dumpster, actually in a drainage ditch. It's a white bark, and cut it all up and turned it into the tree. And then just placed a little bit of Christmas moss in certain spots just to make it look like it had a little life. Because at first looks, you think the tree is dead because there's no leaves anywhere on it, until you look deep at the bottom and you see, aha, there is life. So this shows you that the tree is coming back to life. And we are waiting for, this has ghost shrimp and also 4 amanos in here. Now the amanos are the acrobats. They are normally the ones you will see at the top of the water. I'm trying to see if there's anybody in it right now. They eat it, they feed at night too, so sometimes you don't see them that active in the daytime, but usually I can find them depending on the time of day. Right now it looks like there's nobody. Yeah, there's nobody on the limbs right now. They're probably all on the gravel because they love playing. That's one thing I want to let you guys know. If you're new and you're wanting something that you know you're going to keep shrimp, they love sand and they love gravel. There you go. There's one of them. That is a ghost shrimp. Even though you'll notice, point something out. I've got it on camera. Shoot, it's not going to do it. Okay. This little shrimp, you see those rings? Oh, it's not going to do it. It won't go in that tight. It's got little white bands around it. Not sure why. I call it a zebra. I've been watching it for days to see what's going to happen. It could be molting. Who knows? Okay, no, I'm not seeing. See all that biofilm that they're not touching on this side. Now you go to this side of the tank and a lot more of it is under control, but there's a lot of biofilm in there. They need to get busy. Now I do feed them only once a week, a shrimp supplement, so to make sure they have a healthy diet. But so the croton is the only thing I'm going to have growing out of this tank. And then we're going to go freestyle here for a second. And here's where I have this back here in the back is bobitus on a piece of driftwood, and it runs the entire length. And then here's some smaller, here's a little bit of Java fern. There's a little bit of boost. There's some, this is Godzilla, Boost Godzilla. And you can see the tiny new baby leaves coming out. So you always see them, look at that. That's really cool because there was nothing there. And this is where I put my plants that I don't have the build ready for it, but if I want to grow something out and see how I can, do it. I'm having a horrible time with Java fern. Everyone says it's so easy, but mine just doesn't. I cut a lot of the black off. Mine just doesn't. It just doesn't look that great. Now there are ghost shrimp in here as well to feed on the biofilm in here, but they hardly ever come up. They like to stay underneath the cover of all the plants. Okay, so now we're going to get to the show and tell part. Let me refocus the camera. Okay, I lied. Before we go into show and tell, I do want to show you how we're going to set these tanks up. I'm not sure it can come. Okay, so you're seeing the top shelf right there. All right. I have paper placed on the shelf. Now, this is going to be 5 tanks. So I'm going to do it like this, and I'm going to hope this makes sense. So let's do this. All right. Tank 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what I'm going for is a rhombus effect. And those of you who don't know, it is where you have a diamond coming down and it meets up to a diamond pointing up. Where the two intersect is called a rhombus. And right now, the rhombus creates a diamond inside the two spheres. So you got your triangle here, and here's your rhombus, which is the diamond in the middle. Now, the middle tank is the one that we're going to blend 2 colors. This is going to be red, yellow, green, orange, blue, violet. Now, I'm mixing up the colors because I think red and violet will be beautiful together, and orange and blue would be beautiful together, and green and yellow is going to look really nice together. Now, as far as my laptop would work with me, for red, I have 3 potential plants, but 2 of them are Luigia. There's a super red and there's an accurata. And I believe these are all stems. And then there's a red broadleaf alternatheria, which we've already got growing in one of the tanks, but it's in the pink version of it. So the red's going to have some red, up to 3 red plants here. My shrimp choice, I've got 2. I really want the blood orange, or I would, wait a minute, hang on. No, the fire red cherry, yes. Yeah, the fire red cherry for this one. For the yellow, there's Luigia red skeleton. There is a golden Nessia, I know I'm pronouncing these wrong, and a Hydrophilia compacta they're all 3 yellow colors. So they're going to be yellow here, And my shrimp choice for the yellow is going to be the golden yellowback. Now, I'm trying to go with all neocardenias because they're easier to take care of. And they handle parameters easier than the more fussier side. Let's get to orange. Okay, so orange would be down here. So orange is going to be, it's called orange juice. It's a plant that's called orange juice. It is a Rotalia, so it's going to be a stem plant. And then there is an orange-red colorations in a Leuwikia repens, depending on lighting. So we're going to use our full spectrum lighting, and if we have to keep it on high, each tank will be done that way because we're trying to get color out of here, which is going to be kind of hard, but that's what we're trying for. Now for the orange, you either do orange sun-kissed, which are a little less expensive, but I really want the blood orange because I think they're absolutely gorgeous in color. So that gets us to the orange. Now you swap over here to blue. Blue is a hard one. There's really, your only choice is a boost plant, and there's only really three. There's super blue, Alamanda blue, and a Lamandu mini purple. But the mini purple, when it's underwater, it doesn't look like it looks like when it's grown in a misted environment. The shrimp, I'm going to do blue carbon. So I think that's going to be the best choice because I already have blue velvets in the blackfish tank. So I want a completely different color scheme there. Now, when we get up to the violet, surprisingly, I have 4 plants. Up here's violet. There is a Lilicina. There is a purple Bacopa. There is a Limnophilia hyperodius, whatever that is. And there is a Reneki Super Magenta. And I'm going with the black rose shrimp. They're black, but they have kind of like a deep, deep purple undertone to them. So I think it would be really kind of awesome looking. Now, since I'm only going to have 2 here and 1 here and 2 here, I wanted them spaced to give me my rhombus effect. That's just the artist inside me that has a look and he wants to achieve that look. So I will keep probably a terrarium like this here with its own light on it. This is a nightlight terrarium. And here's a hardscape that I may use in one of the tanks. It's something that I built for 3 mini terrariums, recycled terrariums, and they held themselves in place in the limbs. So the limbs are placed there on purpose. So there was like a pickle jar here and 2 candle jars here, the really skinny ones, and they placed themselves there. Well, I got rid of those because they were too small. And I thought, okay, I might use them as one of the builds for the Rainbow series, just because I think everything can have another use. Now, how much of this is going to go underwater, I'm not sure. I could turn this into a tree. I don't know if I want to do that or not, because every time I try that, it doesn't work. So let me put you on pause while I redirect your lighting and the camera to what the whole video is about, the show and tell. All right, so here we go. This is all my scavenging. So these are the materials we have to work with these tanks. And that's a little sneak peek. This was my Harry Potter Elder Wand terrarium. Now, it didn't work as a terrarium in the long run. Oh God, conceptually it was gorgeous. And the wand just hovered there when there was soil in there. It was like the wand was floating. It was amazing. And I made the colors really dark, like the dark forest at Hogwarts, but you just couldn't put enough soil in it to make it really viable. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking this build and I'm going to place it inside a 20-gallon long. And I'm going to try and put my bovitis on driftwood inside the hurricane lantern. So it'll be an elevated driftwood with greenery on it that'll be far above, suspended above the tank. I think it's going to be glorious. I can't wait to do it. But that was just that's a little sneak preview. It's a little sneak preview. I don't waste anything. If it doesn't work out as a terrarium, we build it for something else. Okay. Yay, look, there's Desert Oasis. Desert Oasis is looking so festive. All right, so let's start talking about, here's some rocks. Now, you guys know I love my ditches. I love finding rocks everywhere. So when I find them, I keep them and I just wait until I have a build that they're going to go into. Let me get you a little bit closer because I'm going to sit on the stool. I think we can do both. I think I can sit and talk. Oh, that's a much better view. All right, so the nice thing about these is I found this whole grouping of these gold-colored, sorry about that, these gold-colored rocks, and they didn't fit into anything at the time, but I don't throw anything away unless it's like rotted or something. All right, now, so this one here just came out of the hollowed out log terrarium. This has moss on it. This would be great to go inside one of the aquariums because it would immediately hopefully grow some moss, and that would be great food source for the shrimp. These haven't gone into anything yet because guess what? These rocks match all the rocks inside here. Desert Oasis. See that? Desert Oasis has a lot of rock. It's all the same kind of rock. And so what I have is left over, which are what these are. So they may work. Out to them. We'll see. I was planning on doing as many plants as possible just to get the color theme across, but I would like to have rock in there because I like rock versus wood because I know my shrimp love it. They love playing on the rocks and feeding on the rocks. Now, this color is coming off on camera way too grayish. This is way more white than it looks like on camera. It looks like it has a grayish bluish tint. No, it's way more white. Let me move one of the lights closer. Hopefully you can get a... Oh, there we go. Much better. Okay, so there's some really interesting ones, like back here, this has got some striations in it. These I found all in one place, and I thought, okay, they could go in maybe one or two as accompanying rocks. And so there's different colors in here that I had to choose from as an accent rock. Now, those I've been collecting everywhere I go. I just keep adding to my rocks. Here's the real cool part about when I found the stone. Now, some of these are what you would find at Michael's or maybe even Hobby Lobby, like this kind of stone here. What I'm talking about, they're these quartz that are buried that one, that one, that one. I mean, someone threw out a lot. Okay. These are all the quartz type of rocks that have the naturally polished. And I hope I have enough here. Here, that'll give you a sample. I hope I have enough here that'll give me a sprinkling over 5.5 gallon tanks. And so I picked every single one of those out of the dirt that I could, because I was like, oh, there's no way I'm leaving those little jewels behind, because it would cost us a fortune to buy something like that. And they had just been thrown out behind the house. And so I was more than happy to pick it up. Now for the rest of this, I'm going to lower you one level down. See if this will work. Now here's where the real show and tell starts. Now all of these have had a hydrogen peroxide bath, and it's 1 part to 4 parts water. So the part is whatever you're using to measure with. It could be a cup, a half a cup, a teaspoon. So like for instance, put 1 teaspoon of hydrogen peroxide in a container, and then put 4 of those of water. And then you just shake it up, mix it well. Then you can put any of your hardscape or plants in there, and it will like hopefully get rid of any fungus or anything that's on it. Not that I can use this in an aquarium, but look, that's amazing. This will look gorgeous in a terrarium because it's got naturally dried mushroom on it. And then these are also naturally dried. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm looking for when I'm going out and I'm foraging. Love the texture on these. And when I put mine in so the first step I do when I bring this stuff home is I get out like tools. I get out my little tools. So I get out like a flathead screwdriver, some pliers, a scrubber brush, like a handle brush that has bristles, a toothbrush, and I dislodge everything on it that I possibly can so that anything that looks like it might want to come off will go ahead and come off. I'm encouraging it to come off before it goes into my hydrogen bath. And then when it's in the hydrogen, even this large piece here that you're seeing on camera, this was soaked for almost 2 full hours. So I turn it around. So it's wider than my sink. So I put half of it in the sink. But I want you to see the detail on this. I mean, this would look amazing like in a 20-gallon long. I mean, it really was. I could like prop it up and it could be a backdrop. It might look better if it's done like this. If it's too long, you could also angle it up to where it goes out the top. But, you know, hang on. Get my light going the right way. But I love this. It also, this floats. It actually floats in water. So that's another plus. Then here's the backside. Now here's what I want to caution you on. This was all really mushy. So I get it wet on purpose so that I can discover any weak spots. Now, this would be amazing if you were going to plant something on this side because you've got natural openings. You could put like a boose or a nubius. You've got lots of places here to put boose and a nubius in here where you don't have to glue it. It's got natural grooves in it, or you could put moss in there, your underwater moss, and you could start growing it and see if it would take off and, you know, end up covering the whole piece. But I love how this has this beautiful end here, and I want to be able to use this. So this is too big for the Rainbow series, but it's not too big for a 20 wide, or 20 long is what they call them whenever you get them online at PetSmart. Let me make some room here. without messing anybody up. Okay, so specifically for this group of tanks, we're looking at something with curve. We want curve. Let's see if I can turn this one off. Nope, cannot. Okay. There we go. So I want curve. I like how it has this broken end here. You could attach some plants inside there. I like how there's some holes in it. I mean, you could put something inside that little hole there. Look, there's another hole here. I like that. The part about it being on a curve is nice because you could put it elevated on a rock, or you could turn it around like this and have it coming up, and then maybe having something under here. So it gives you different options, and I took my tape measure with me, so I know this will work. It's not too big. Now, this next piece here is a missed opportunity. These had Anubias on them before, and they did not grow. They just died. I'm that bad at gluing. So what I'm thinking about doing is somehow maybe joining these together to make a new something. I'll play around with it, you know, to get however I want it to look, but you know, something interesting. I want to do something interesting with it. I'm going to use it. I just don't know how I'm going to use it. But I will play around with this until we get something going, and this would be great for moss to go on. So yeah, I'm going to reuse it, but I'm going to use them together as one piece. Here's one that I adore. Now, I took all the bark off this because okay, I'm going to tell you, that's like a really good point. I take the bark off because the bark is the first thing that's going to be your weakest point. The bark will be the first thing that gets wet first, and when it starts to flake off, it's just going to make a mess. So I go in and I take the bark off. That's why I use a flathead screwdriver, and it pretty much always comes off because these have set outside. Then I rough it up like crazy. I want it to be rough because I know my shrimp, when this has biofilm on it, they're going to dig crawling around on this thing. And this has such a cool little shape. I mean, it just says, hello, I need to go into an escape, some type of aquascape, because I'm so fabulous. Okay, that just looks awesome. Same thing. Okay, you've already seen this one. Now you're going to notice there's a sheen. See, that one has a sheen? This one does not. This one's been treated with Gorilla Glue spray, which is safe for the aquariums. On my stuff that I'm afraid is going to flake off too much, I pre-treat it with Gorilla Glue. So that way I know that I can keep that in water a lot longer than I would. Now here's a root, which I thought was amazing. This could also be someone's tree, or it could be a root going down. Who knows what we'll do? I'll combine it with something else. Oh, look. It looks very similar to this coloring, so maybe these could go together in the same build. It's just like being in grammar school again and getting to talk about all your fun little toys. Okay, here are some strips of twigs that have no bark on them. That grows here in Texas. I've only found that tree once, but I loved it because it's like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. I can use that. And I've made other stuff with it. I think I did it in some terrariums as well. So I've really used that. Now, I was wanting a mountain, and I found one. Now, I had to, okay, now here's some twigs that I found. These were like reeds growing out of water, so I dried them. So I have these to do something with. I got some more of the twigs that don't have any bark on them. Here is something cool. This is going to be a mountain. Now, oh, it took me forever to get this clean. I mean, I broke so much off of this. That's the one thing you want. When you leave it in the water for such a long time and things get soft on it, it's really easy to break off what you need to break off of it to make it suitable to go into your aquarium. But this is definitely going to be a centerpiece somewhere. I definitely see this could have moss growing in the cracks, and it might make it have that, you know, mountain look. So we know we'll try to feature this in one of the tanks. Now, this is just cool because look, it's got this great curve. So what I really had thought about doing is finding something else that could be a curve and putting them together. Maybe, I don't know if I can, but that, yeah, definitely. This, I am digging what this has got going on. Okay, this bark would not come off. So I know it's hardwood, it's gonna be on there for a while. This side did, it just needs to be brushed off and then sealed. But look at this, this is gonna be another outstanding curved piece that can go in one of the tanks or as an accompaniment to another. You guys, you know, I love to put massive hardwood in my tanks if I can. So that's another one. Oh, here's one of my favorites. Look at this. Look how this has been just eaten away. Oh my God, it looks like Walking Dead or Night of the Living Dead. It's like it's been flesh eaten. These are apparently were worms, because look, there's a hole and they've just eaten their way around it. Oh my God, it's amazing. So this, I kept this in for like 2 full hours to make sure there was nothing on it. And it needs to be sealed, but I think it's going to be amazing as well. We're gonna work with the curve on the bottom, so it looks like it's gonna come up like maybe a stump, or maybe it'll go, you know, this way, and we'll add another top to it. Who knows? We'll use it. Ooh, here's another one. Love, love, love it. Okay, this piece when I found it was completely enclosed with mud. I got all the mud out of it, so now I have this cool little cave for shrimp. They will love this because it goes onto the backside. There's another cave on this side. They love crawling into places. There's another cave over here. Oh, this is a must because it's got cave systems written all over it. And this one we can easily put any type of plant on this that we want without gluing it. That's what I love about this. And I'm thinking definitely it's just gonna, I'm probably not gonna do it like this. I'm probably gonna lay it flat. I probably think I'll just lay it flat. I'm just loving it the way it is. Okay, now let's get to over here. Let me reposition the camera. Let's see what I'm looking at now. Okay, move that out of the way. Here is another one that I pulled all the bark off. You can actually see where I took my screwdriver and just dug into this as much as possible. This may not go in an aquarium. It's so lightweight, it probably would take forever for it to sink, but this is definitely something I'm gonna put in a terrarium. On the other hand, here is another mountain. This one has this, okay, nice, do it like this. It can set like this. I mean, you could do it, like maybe put it in a corner and have it set. Oh, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. Set it like that. Or you could do it upside down, and if you had it attached to a wall, it could be a ledge. You could do a lot with this, but it's got these great grooves that we can put all of our plants in again. This one I broke as much off as possible, so this one is definitely going to be one of our focal points. It's the same color family as this other one. So they are the same color. They're from the same type of tree. These two are. Now, okay, here's some ones that I've had from the original set of wood I collected that I have not been able to do anything with. I'm saving them because they're all the same color family. They're all this gray wood. So I don't know if I'll be able to use them in the rainbows because their tanks are so much smaller. All right, let's get that out of the way. This one is one of my favorites because number one, okay, that just screams, put a plant all through here and just let it grow out and let this be the foundation. It just sets like this. Unfortunately, look, fungus here, fungus all through here. And I had this in there on the backside. I had this in the water for 2 full hours and I could not clean this off. What I can do is scrape it off and seal it, and then it should be okay. But I don't know if I want to do that. I was thinking about using this as a display for something else, something with the terrariums, like a different type of terrarium, using this as a display stand. Okay, now, oh, you should have heard me squeal when I saw this, because it had this massive peak that came out, and it literally sat just like this. I mean, it's this nice cliff base that already has some moss on it. By the time I broke all this down, there's just this little piece left. So it can go in the tank. I'm not sure what to put with it to get this look to come off, but it's another piece that the shrimp will love crawling on, and there's hiding places in this for the shrimp as well. And that's what I look for now, because I know I want my shrimp to be happy inside their build. Now this little jewel, if you guys recognize it, was on the studio build wall. I took it down and I thought, okay, I can use it. I think it's too tall for this, for these builds. But I love how it's conceptual and it just looks like a tower. It just looks like a beautiful natural tower. I'll be using this for something else. So these two here will probably be used for something else, but the majority of the other stuff, we're going to use it in the hobby. And so one of the things I wanted to point out in looking at all the hardscape, now you can see this is just stuff I collected just from walking. Super, super easy. Now, when you get your collection like this and you get it clean and you're getting it ready and you're collecting rocks, don't pressure yourself. Just go nice and easy. But I wanted you to show you something that I didn't talk about earlier. Hang on. This is paper that I've taped. That's the outline of the tank, okay? So now maybe this can help you identify easier. All right, so you've got 2, 1, and then 2. So you automatically know where your tank's gonna go. You know the placement, you know the size, you know the balance. They're all centered on their own shelf, okay? And this is where your dojo starts. So you have something down now that's the exact size of your tank. You can use your, if you have it, your Amazon packing as your foundation, and that's where you can start putting your rock or your hardscape and play with it there until you get it right. So I have one of these literally for every single, I reuse this stuff. And that is what I'm going to be doing, is I'm going to get and start to put together my pieces of hardscape with rock to see what fits. And then that way I'll know, can I use this? Because this is kind of big. It could go maybe on the top shelf. It would be amazing though if it could go here in the center. And do I need to turn that into a tree? That's going to be another thing that we'll have to talk about. But that gives you the overall impression of how I prep. So once everything had its bath for an hour and a half to 2 hours for some pieces, I let it dry naturally. It's dried for 3 days. Now I can go back, brush anything off of it, vacuum it off, and then spray it with a light mist of the super glue that comes in the spray can, and then it just kind of seals it. It will still grow biofilm. That doesn't stop it, but it does protect the wood from further decay inside the aquarium, so you can use the hardscape longer. Or if it's a little softer but you still want to use it, it'll give you a little extra level bit of protection. So I hope this helps. Let me know in your comments if you have any questions or any comments you want to pass along. I greatly appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you on the next video update. Bye-bye.